Thank you. Bridge, how did the United States and the free world's failure to deter Russia's invasion of Ukraine embolden other great powers? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you, Colonel, and thanks for your kind introduction. It's an honor to be here with Senator Ernst. I mean, look, I think the main challenge the United States faces is from China. It's an overwhelmingly significant threat. I mean, it's 10 times the Russian economy. I think the Russian invasion of Ukraine is an abomination. I think Senator Ernst was rightly saying it's important that we provide them with the lethal aid and other forms of aid. I think it's also critical that the Europeans step up to their responsibilities above all the Germans, both in terms of direct support to the Ukrainians as well as their own defense spending commitments. I think that's going to be vital because the reality is that China is, as I said, 10 times the GDP of Russia. DNI, Director of National Intelligence, Will Haynes, said the other day, I think you were there, Senator, or at least at the hearing, said that there's an acute threat of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. And candidly, for a number of years, I think there've been dismissal of some of the warnings that Admiral Davidson gave last year. But that hearing it from Haynes, who's a political appointee, that's a new level of alarm. So we really need to focus on that. And the fact is that we're behind the curve on China in terms of the defense. And I think the biggest assessment is that, yes, I think Xi Jinping and the Chinese leadership will take from this situation that, I mean, you both know far better than I, military operations, especially offensive military operations, are very difficult, but they can be done. And actually, the other thing I think the Director of Central Intelligence Agency, Bill Burns, said over the weekend, he said Xi Jinping has not given up his goal on Taiwan at all. Yeah. And Taiwan is a piece of the broader puzzle of China's aspirations to dominate the world's largest market area, which is of direct importance to people here at home in the United States. Because if China controls well over 50% of global GDP, you can be sure that it will matter for us, that our freedoms and our prosperity will be greatly compromised. So my view is we've really got to focus on Asia, and while supporting the Europeans to step up and take this kind of primary responsibility for their own security, while remaining committed to NATO in a more focused way. But the biggest, to answer your question directly, Colonel, I think the biggest lesson or the biggest dynamic that Xi Jinping and the Chinese leadership will look to is not exactly how things go in Ukraine, but whether they can win in Taiwan. And if they think they can win, I think they're likely to push the envelope. And if they think they're likely to win over Taiwan, well, then they know they're going to get a lot of sanctions. And it's not sanctions that are stopping the Russians. It's the Ukrainians' defense. It's denial. It's military effort. And that's the critical lesson for us to learn. If the Chinese are willing to bite that bullet, I think they might be willing to go farther pretty quickly. And that's why it's critical that Taiwan really get off its, get out of its chair and get going, and Japan too, with urgency. Because I think our window, we're already in the window. So it's a very dangerous situation. It matters a lot to Americans, and we've never, the fact of the matter is, for 150 years, we've been by far the largest economy in the world. That's not the case right now. I love America. I think we're the best in the world, but we got to deal with, it's just a final thought. My thing is, Tom Brady didn't win X number of Super Bowls by every year thinking, hey, I'm the best. I don't have to work hard. He's like, I'm going to be the best again next year and get to the Super Bowl because I'm going to train hard and I'm going to look at my opponent and be at the very tippy edge of my performance. And I think that's how we need to look at China.
That's great.